No?
Your mic. Okay, then now I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, cool. I've got to sort this out, man. It's some sort of a wire connection issue. But anyway, welcome to Speaking of Schmoedown special. Did this a couple weeks ago with ASG, or maybe it was last week, actually. But you just talk about something that happens if it happens. And the big thing with me, not so much the benefit of doubt rule, although I do hate that. My issue a lot is with bad calls, bad challenge decisions, and bad accepted answers and stuff like that. But definitely wanted to talk about this with you because you and I talked about this behind the scenes, and we do not agree on this, actually. So that's what I found interesting.
Yeah, this is one of the few times, typically when it comes to these kind of rules decisions, I think we share a lot of common ground. This one, we'll talk about it. But yeah, we don't see eye to eye on this one.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do, this is question 6 from the first round of the Dimmy versus Arsenault match this in Star Wars division, and this is a tournament match. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip just so we know what we're talking about here. And here's what we're talking about.
Strikes Back. Oh. In The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke is going into the Cave of Evil, Yoda tells him that he will not need what? And we were looking for his exact wording.
You must busted out some Yoda speak yourself there.
I really did, man. You know, it's something about reading space words. It starts
to
get
said
backwards
that
in your
exact
head.
wording is something that's key
4,
here.
3,
but
2,
also look at their players'
1.
reactions.
That's time. We'll start here with the Arsenal.
This is the exact wording. So
even
his weapons.
That is correct.
That is
and
correct.
Nikki?
I said your weapons.
That is also correct.
The exact wording. Okay, that's
We-
fine.
It's clear that they both had a feeling. You know what I mean? It wasn't 100% straight up. Now, what I want to do is I want to give my position on this and then have your rebuttal, and then we'll just kind of talk about it. And we're not going to be here for very long. Okay. So the way the question was worded, and I'm going to read it back, and I'm sure you are too, because we have to. Yeah. I'm not sure where our disconnect is on this, to be honest. But the question is, in The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke is going into the Cave of Evil, Yoda tells him that he will not need what? Now, in my mind, all they're asking for is very simply, in this case, weapons is the key thing. That's all you need. It could be his weapons, your weapons, just weapons involved. That's what they're looking for. I do not feel that it calls for exact wording. However, PJ did interject by saying exact wording. I Googled this for all you Google people out there. There's only one meaning for this, and it means correct in every manner. So my thing is, once PJ interjected and said exact wording, he then changed the expectations of the answer, basically turning it into a quote. It was not, if he had not said that, it would not have been necessary to be exact like that. But the judge asked for exact wording, regardless of how the question was worded. That's where I stand on it, and therefore Arsenault should not have gotten the.
So it's funny because when we were discussing this previously, you actually and I had not looked at all the questions because I'll be honest, in Star Wars I kind of just skip around to spots unless if there are challenges because all of Star Wars goes over my head. So you said lightsaber, and the answer was weapons. So but actually that makes me now understand a little bit more maybe of why they were saying exact wording is maybe they wanted to make sure that you were getting the answer of weapons and not the specific weapons of what they might be. Now, the reason why I disagree with the your versus his is that the question says Yoda tells him that he will not need what. So if I'm taking a test and I know this answer, even if they say exact wording, I'm going to say his weapons because it's he will. That's just the grammatical thing of the correct answer to say. So for me, his versus yours is a grammar issue. And because of the way the question was phrased, saying he will not need, I am going to say his weapons even after they say exact wording.
See, that's where our disconnect is.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
interpretation of, okay, this is what it's, let me know if I'm right here.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page as long as the question without PJ having said anything interjected. And this
Correct.
is not talking on PJ. It's just PJ happened to be the one who.
Yeah, well, I think that might be why he said it, is because they wanted the answer of weapons and not what those weapons were.
Right. And so I think we're on the same page, except for when he interjects. Like I said, in my mind, to say exact wording then changes the expectations. But you did say one thing that perked my ears up. Yeah. Okay, so let me look at this question again here. Tells him he will not need what?
Yeah, he will not need what?
Yeah, so that could also be interpreted as weapons is plural. He had a lightsaber and a blaster. So kind of, couldn't it be argued that weapons wouldn't even be acceptable?
Well, no, because they said exact wording. So since Yoda said weapons and not Yoda, so because like if he and not said exact wording, then maybe you could say, blaster and lightsaber and all these options could be all correct because they're all weapons. But since he was looking for exact wording, it was the weapons part that I think PJ was looking for.
See, this is an interesting one. This is not one that rubs me raw or pisses me off. This is one that this is a fascinating one to me because I mean, I still think that when he interjected with exact wording that like I said, that changes what you're wanting in the answer. And in my mind, exact wording is as good as a quote. However, I'm sensible to understand that it's far more complex than that. And that's why it's so fascinating. Because there are multiple levels to this, as we just got into with specific. And like I said, this is not ragging on anyone or like a Schmoedown. This is not like you guys effed up a big call. This is just.
I mean, because there wasn't even a big call because it wasn't challenged. So if Nikki or Sam felt that strong about it, especially in Star Wars, Sam is said that he's more willing to challenge in Star Wars, especially, and a little bit in IG than he is in singles. So if he thought that was worthy of challenge, I'm sure he would have, you would have seen the challenge. So I don't think either of them thought that this was that big of a deal that it was worthy of a challenge.
See, that's fair. I, on the other hand, 100% would have challenged this. And a part of my argument, the opening to my argument would be not only did my player expect the proper wording out of him, but before she even answered, that player showed doubt that he had gotten it right. So, I mean, if the person who wrote down the answer is doubting themselves, what more do you need when you ask for exact wordings and they both said two different things? One of them is exactly right and the other one isn't.
So my argument as Kate would be his doubt is irrelevant. And, it's how the question is phrased. And the question was, he will. So the answer of his weapons, in my mind, is what is the correct answer, regardless of exact wording or not exact wording. Like, your weapons is just an odd way to answer the question of Yoda will tell him that he will not need. And I understand that the reason of the exact wording is why he was more doubtful, but that doesn't change the fact that it's an equally correct answer.
And like I said, I agree with you. If it weren't for him saying exact wording, any way you have weapons is the key point.
Yeah.
Weapons. But
Yeah.
when you, like I said, okay, and this is not picking on you. I'm genuinely curious because my mind is, I can't wrap my head around this. When I say that him saying exact wording then turns it into like it's as good as asking for a quote. How, like, what is your thinking for not agreeing with that? Like, how do you not think that exact wording isn't the same thing as exactly what they said, which is a quote?
Because they didn't say quote. See, if the question was Yoda tells him that, quote, you will not need what, then I'd be completely in agreement with you. But because they didn't use the word quote, the fact that they says the word he, and that they're saying exact wording, in my opinion, and this is just my interpretation once again, because of the weapons part, to make sure that only weapons will be an acceptable answer, that is the exact wording part that they're looking for, not the pronoun or whatever you want to call it, the adjective of who's possessive, because we all understand that Luke is who both of them are referring to.
All right.
So this isn't a Luke versus Luke's anger situation where they're two different things. They're both referring to Luke.
And I think I know even deeper into where exactly our split is here. We both have different interpretations of what PJ was asking for when he said exact. In my mind, I hear exact wordings and it takes me to a quote, kind of a place. You're thinking outside of my box, which is, maybe he didn't mean exactly what he said, but he just means, as opposed to if they had just said lightsaber or blaster, and it'd be like, well, that's kind of what I meant with exact wordings. It's more than one. He had two weapons. So yes, it's that's
right. Like if he didn't say exact wording and somebody put blaster or lightsaber, you could argue that's a type of weapon, and it might be a valid challenge if he didn't say exact wording, which is why I thought I said weapons. And yeah, I see John agrees with you here. So, I'm not saying what I'm saying is gospel either. So
if somebody were here who agreed with you, then I would put that up too.
Yeah.
But no, that's it. We're not going to get into a big-winded thing. And actually, here in about 15 minutes on this network, Sarah Blue and I are going to be doing our Bachelor show, Go Get That Rose, talking about this week's episode of Bachelor in Paradise. But yeah, until tomorrow, where you will be co-hosting tomorrow with Soda. But yeah, we're going to talk about that challenge in the Page match because, I don't know, you got an interesting point on that too. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And Paige will actually be our guest tomorrow. So that'll be fun too. But ASG, thanks for joining me, man.
Thank you for having me, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hell yeah. Everybody have a great time. And hey, in the comments, let us know what you guys think. Like, and this is not like I'm right, you're wrong. This is a discussion thing because like we just broke it down. There are multiple angles to this. So just what do you guys think about all this? But until tomorrow on Speaking of Schmoedown, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, everyone, have a great night. You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow.
So smooth.